Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It's me, your girl BrittReacts, and today we're going to react via a kind suggestion to YelloPain. My vote don't count. Let's see what he has to say.
Enough electoral votes, more than 270, more than enough to become the 44th president of the United States. He will be the first African-American president of the United States.
I've been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes. I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us. And that's why I don't vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012. I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can. And everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke. I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own. Ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture.
Oof. All right. I've never heard of this gentleman, YelloPain. I love that his hair is yellow. Looks like he's in New York City. Sounds like he's from New York. Okay. It's so interesting because as the election draws closer, so many, people are talking about it on social media. And recently, someone I was really close with in college said that this was their first time voting since that the 2008 election where Obama was elected. And this person, we were together when Obama won. And I didn't go to a predominantly black school. I actually went to a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution. But there was kind of there just was a community at this school that made it feel like we were at a HBCU, like we had all our fraternities and sororities. And so we had a community. There was a strong community of us. And mind you, I went to school in the deep rural South. Let that marinate in whatever way you want. But I will never forget the celebration in the streets when Obama became president, because at the young, ripe age of 18, I had no clue about politics. I knew very little about politics. But all I knew was that for the first time ever in this life, someone who looked like my brothers, who looked like my uncles, who looked like, the people that are closest to me and my family, was going to occupy a space that we had never occupied before. And it was incredibly special, taking the politics out of it. And I think a lot of people will want to say, why is this a race thing? But you have to understand how important representation is. And it just didn't ever seem like something that was tangible to majority of the black community, because we had never seen it. If you don't see something, you just kind of don't ever think it. And so it was such a huge thing, that alone. It wasn't about the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. It was simply for so many of us, the young people who went out and voted for the first time, right? This was my first time ever being able to vote. It was monumental. Like I drove back home to Atlanta to vote. And so I hear what he's saying. It's like, I saw myself in this man and I thought he would help. And in his experience, no politician has ever helped him. He's only gotten himself to where he is because of himself, not politics, not an elected official, nobody. And the truth of the matter is there are so many people who feel this way, who feel like my vote doesn't matter, because no matter what, my life won't change for the good because of who I voted for. There are so many people, and there are so many people who are misinformed about the power the president has on their everyday life immediately, right? Like a lot of people also don't understand that the government that you have and are dealing with today leave behind a legacy and an operation that the next president comes in and picks up, right? So the government, the way our government works, as far as I understand, is Joe Biden stepped into Trump's government, right? Trump stepped into Obama's government. You don't just switch and then all of a sudden everything is exactly how the new president wants it. No, they're stepping into the previous president's system of order. And I think a lot of times people who are just uninformed, misinformed, young, don't realize that, like, not only is that the truth, but also your local officials have way more of an impact on your everyday life than the president of the United States and all the filtration of what he has to go through to even get anything approved. Like, people just don't know how our government works. Our kids are not being educated properly. There are adults who don't understand that properly. So there are a lot of people who feel like my vote doesn't matter, when really they should be getting out and voting in those the local elections if they're worried about they're not seeing, things changing around them and for their family. Anyway, I said all that to say I think this is a needed conversation. I think it's a needed conversation in music because not enough artists are putting out music about this. And this is where the youth are. This is how the youth are educating themselves. Music, social media, you know what I mean? It's like, these are important, whether you agree with it or not. It's an important way to start a conversation and to start educating people.
It didn't make my life better. Did it all on my own. Ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture. I don't even know the mayor's name. I ain't never seen her one time ever. Tell me how she gonna help the city. What I'm supposed to do, write letters? What I'm supposed to do, blame Trump? He ain't never really gave Ain't nobody raised minimum wage. None of these jobs pay enough. I think they just want to keep us broke, cause they ain't putting none in place for us. This how all my people feel, but we gotta learn. We complained enough. Let me change it up.
We gotta learn. We complained enough.
Think the same way. See, they don't want to see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know.
Ooh, see? I love this. He's turning this all the way around. He's like, let me educate you, because there's not enough education in the school system, at home, in the communities. Like, people really are misinformed. He's like, see, that's the same way I thought. But let me stop complaining and let me do something about it. And that's for anything in life. Like, you can't complain and not want to be a part of the solution, not want to change it. Don't do that.
And they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, back in middle school when they taught us, it was
come on, school.
We forgot it when we got older.
Yep.
It's the judicial,
what I say?
Legislative and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president.
Woo!
None of them three people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't never even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though.
What did I just say? I love this. I love this. I love this. I love that this is a young black man in a classroom setting educating people, because these are who the kids want to hear from. They want to hear from the rappers they look up to. They want to hear from the people that dress like them. They don't want to hear from us old farts. You know what I mean? And it's so true. Like, we learned this in middle school. We learned it. But like, you know how far removed I am from middle school? This is a beautiful thing. I love that, like, the people started to follow him on the streets, and then he's like, let me take you to school. And he said exactly what I said. Like, the president, his power is so limited. How many times do you hear the president say, like, I wanted to push that, but Congress shut it down? How many times? Congress been shutting itself down every other month in the last 3 years. Like, it's just like, this is beautiful, and it's so necessary. And, people get really upset, I think, when artists come out and say who they're voting for. And I get it. I mean, what happened to back in the day when it's like no one ever talked about who they were voting for? It was like so taboo. But I do think that when an artist is courageous, because you have to be courageous, because you have to know that some people are going to be opposed to your opinion. But when they're courageous enough to step out and say, not only do I vote, but I have an opinion and here's who I vote for, it encourages their fans to do the same on either end. And if they lose some fans or they gain some fans, I don't think that's what it's about. I think it's about them saying, like, you idolize me, you look up to me, you admire me, you like my music, you like my artistry, and I also go out and do this. I also have an opinion. And it is needed. It is so needed to turn this country around, just to have us in a healthier system. Like, it just, You know, I saw somebody say the other day, like all the older people in charge are like, you know, for lack of better words, they're dying off. They're getting older. And this new generation is going to step in, but they need to be informed before they take position, take office. This is needed. This is needed in all forms, in all genres, everywhere. It's needed.
So what we want from the president is what they do, okay, y'all? See, their election every 2 years.
He's also a really good rapper.
Go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it, though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Because they the ones make child support laws. They the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. If they house make the court costs. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Because y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't want to tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the third branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon, they had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in, because they ain't know who to vote against. Imagine life on the other side. Roads better, schools better, everybody get their license back, grocery store food better, custody of your kids back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everything could be better if we all just paid attention. And like he's saying, no one even knows like when these elections are, who the local officials are, who's running for office. Like, people don't even know. And it is so interesting how we are meant to, and we're taught to focus on the presidential election, but the same energy is not given to us for the other elections. It really is so true. And these are the things that, I mean, I'm talking like down to like the hours at your local library. He just said the roads, the potholes in the roads, lunch in the cafeteria for your kids. All of these things are literally directly connected to these smaller elections, when in the grand scheme of things, they're the biggest elections of them all.
Everybody get their license back, grocery store food better, custody of your kids back.
Inflation.
Get new shelters. If we gonna fix the U.S., we gotta start with them 2 letters.
If we gonna fix the U.S., we gotta start with those 2 letters.
But the only reason why those people in the government is because we ain't vote. And I ain't talking about the president. I'm talking about the ones we ain't know. See, they was gonna try to keep it low, but it's gonna hurt them when they see the polls.
Every time you stay home, someone is making a decision about you, making decisions about the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food your kids eat, and how much money you bring home every 2 weeks. So every time you sit out an election,
register
every time
to
you
vote.
don't show up because you think it doesn't matter, someone else is happy that you didn't show up, so they can make that decision for you. Vote.
Wow. And this was in 2020. So it's wild how relevant it still is. I don't care your gender, your religion, your race. And I'm also not going to tell you what to do, but to think that your one vote doesn't matter in any election is a disservice to yourself, to your family, to your children, to your grandparents who are on Social Security. Like, it's a disservice. It's a disservice. Because imagine if 100,000 people said, my vote doesn't matter. That's 100,000 votes can change the outcome. It has changed. Less numbers have changed the outcome of an election by far. To change the U.S., we got to bring those 2 letters together and change us. That was fantastic. Sir, I don't know who you are, but I think you are so needed in this world, on this planet, in this country, and in the rap game. So please, I beg you, keep doing this. Keep educating everyone. I mean, I learned some things here. This was fantastic. All right, guys. Think about your family. Think about yourself. Think about your loved ones. Think about strangers. Think about the homeless people that you see on the street. And go and have the day you deserve.